Kirishima, you're an absolute beast. Coming in with that unbreakable form, yo, that was lit. That was so hype. Hey guys, how's it going on? Shinigami-san here to do a review on Boku no Hero Academia, chapter 133. Now, I'm really loving this chapter. It's Kirishima's time to shine. We wanted this. We've been waiting for this so much. Now, are we going to be getting a Kirishima origin chapter coming up soon? I wouldn't be surprised. You know what? I'd kind of love it if we did. But before we get into that, I really am enjoying these chapters, these internships. I think I touched upon it briefly in my last review, but let me just emphasize it again. You know how amazing this is that we're getting like different progressions and other characters that other than Deku? And the thing is, it's all connected to this arc which is going to happen. It's all connected to Overhaul and the Villain Alliance and the Precepts of Death. Like, it's so awesome because as it's all connected and it's different characters, you know, fighting different villains, fighting different thugs, during their internship process, we're just like it's just widening the scope because we're getting it all on a different perspective. For example, in this chapter, Kirishima's fighting the thug, and then the thug, I think he's taking out the drug from his arm or something, not his arm, but from like his sleeve, and then Kirishima's just like, oh, I watched this on TV or something like that. So it's pretty awesome because like we're getting other people's point of view other than Deku's, so I think that's really awesome to see. Now, in this chapter, we pretty much get the after effects of Sun Eater, and his quirk doesn't work. You see him trying to activate it, and like it stops like a couple centimeters short. So I guess the question still stands: is this a temporary kind of thing? Is it a permanent? Now, a lot of the word drug was getting talked about a lot. Now, this is a bullet, but also if you saw the bullet in the previous chapter, when Shigaraki was on to Overhaul, he took it out and it had like a syringe kind of thing at the end of the bullet. So it seems like, I may be wrong, but if I'm just theorizing right now, it seems like this bullet, it kind of gets injected into you, so it's got like a serum. Now, if it has this serum or getting into it, surely it may be like a temporary effect. Maybe this substance which gets into your blood, whatever, which, you know, deactivates your quirk, maybe it's temporary. But the question still stands: is it temporary or is it permanent? I'm kind of leading to it being permanent because it makes it more grounded and it makes it more like terrifying. I don't want it to be permanent because freaking hell, Sunny is an awesome guy, so I don't want him to lose his quirk, to be honest, but we'll just have to see in a couple of chapters later on. But, so yes, Sunny's quirk's not working, and then, in fact, the hero, he turns around, he's just like, they have a quirk like a razor's, and I was just like, yo, I don't know, but that got me really hyped because it just seems so realistic, and I just love the way Horikoshi portrayed it as well. Like he was amazing with the suspense in this chapter. He really was. Now the thug's quirk is pretty cool. Basically, like, to be honest, it's not that bad. Like, I don't know why he was complaining, but I'll get to that in a second. So he can protrude knives out of his forearm, coming on up to like 10 centimeters. Out. It protrudes around 10 centimeters out of his body. I believe it's only on his forearm. So when he was fighting with it, obviously it weren't really doing much to Kirishima because Kirishima's quirk, it's just hardened, so it was defending him for it. And this is why he was like complaining so much. But however, he takes a drug. Now this drug, it amplifies his quirk. Now I want you to remember that for a second because I will get to that in a sec. So the thug amplifies his quirk, and straight off when I saw it, this was my initial reaction. At first, I thought it was a drug which has other quirks. Because if you've seen this chapter, it's very similar to Moonshine's quirk. Now, obviously, from this chapter which Kirishima said, and the way that it was just, the way this chapter confirmed that it's a drug which amplifies. So this drug, the original quirk which the thug had, which just protruded knives out of his forearm, protruded out of his body, everywhere from his body. You even see it coming from his eyes, I believe, actually. But, because it's amplified, it's going meters out. This is like hitting buildings, taking out windows, and like scaffolding pipes, everything. You know, it's taking out things. It's very, very destructive, and that's why at first I was thinking, hang on, does this drug hold other people's quirk? Because it was so similar to Moonshine's. If you guys remember Moonshine from the camp arc. I don't know what that arc's actually called, but it's when they go to the camp, and you know, that's when Deku fights Warhorse Killer. Moonshine, he was on death row. That guy, the weirdo, he was fighting Tokiyami, Todoroki, Bakugo. Now, I'm just thinking now, like, we didn't need Tokiyami. Well, we did. It was awesome seeing Tokiyami, but now it just shows you that if like there was ever a situation like that again, like Kirishima could handle it and take out Moonshine. But aside from that, so yeah, the guy's quirk is powerful. As when it's amplified, it's powerful. Like you see it actually cutting Kirishima. It's going through Kirishima's hardened skin. So Kirishima's taking damage right now, and he remembers something, and he remembers a thing which All Might says, and All Might tells him. This was when right after the Kamino fight. So this is when All Might's weakened form was portrayed to society. They were trained. This was right at the start of them strengthening their quirks. They were trying to develop superhero moves. And All Might says, don't think of some nifty kind of crafts and nifty kind of tricks. Instead, focus on your brute force technique, a brute force movement, just like a bulldozer, like smashing through. I believe that's what he said. And obviously, Kirishima's been thinking about it this whole time. And this is what I said at the start of the video. I really liked it how his insecurities got laid out. And it was awesome because I never saw Kirishima to be such a pensive, reflective kind of character. I was like Sun Eater, who believed Kirishima to be some optimistic kind of guy. So, you know, like plus ultra, literally, that just gives me right now, but think about it. This is how I thought Kirishima used to be. I thought Kirishima to be like the plus ultra embodiment of Class 1A. That's what Kirishima kind of portrayed. That's how Horikoshi kind of portrayed Kirishima. But it's awesome to see how he's got so much more to his character, and I really love it. And this is why I'm so grateful for these kind of chapters, to get insights on other people's characters. Otherwise, we wouldn't know anything about them. They'd seem so surface level deep. So that was pretty cool. And Bakugo comes in. The bromance is real, guys. The bromance really is real. Bakugo comes in and he encourages him. This is what I liked about it, because Bakugo is inspired by All Might. And one of the reasons why Bakugo is inspired by All Might is because All Might, regardless of the odds, he stays and he wins. He stands and he wins. And Bakugo says, how he didn't break, that was strong as hell, wasn't it? Because a couple of panels before, Bakugo said to Kirishima, he said something along the lines as, didn't you say you were going to be the horse that wouldn't crumble during the cavalry battle? And obviously Kirishima was just like, damn, that's what I should be. That's my role. And this chapter was really important because it kind of solidified what Kirishima, the type of hero Kirishima needs to be. Because Kirishima was looking at people like Bakugo, looking at like Tokiyami, Sero, all these guys whose quirks were so different than Kirishima's. He realized, in comparison, my quirk doesn't seem as, what's the word, as versatile as these other guys. So Kirishima wasn't thinking, okay, well, who can I be? He was wondering who he could be. So when Bakugo comes in saying, you know, be the one that stands, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but when Bakugo's basically saying, be the one that stands, don't crumble, Kirishima's just like, that's the type of hero I'm going to be, a defense kind of hero. One that breaks through the walls, one that breaks through every single obstacle to take out that guy. So I really am loving it, and it was awesome. And yeah, Kirishima's form is amazing. His maximum hardening level, which is called unbreakable, is so beast. I love it. It's so awesome. Now, yeah, there's some questions to ask about this quirk, about this form now. I wonder how much stronger this makes him. Notice it on the last page. He looks a little bit bigger as well. We haven't really spoken about Kirishima's quirk a lot, but if you realise, everything of him is hardened. His hair and that, because I realised it, like, I didn't dwell too much on it, but in chapters when you see him, like, at home, or chapters when you see him in, like, civilian kind of clothes, his hair's down, he looks like, he just looks normal. Well, yeah, his hair's down pretty much. But when you see him in his hero outfit, when you see his hardened quirk, his hair's spiky up. Now, when his quirk is hardened, everything, or his whole body's hardened, and you see it's so cool. This is what I liked about this chapter, because when he's hardening himself, he's like, my soul, my spirit must get harder. And I was just like, yo, Kirishima, you're a beast, because you see the spikes literally coming to his eyes, and he's hardening himself. Like the knives hit his eyes, and nothing happens. All of the knives just break off, because his new form is just so it is so tough. It is so rigid that nothing can take him out right now. And that's what I thought was awesome. That's what got me really hyped. Now, there's some important takeaways. I really am loving the shift in direction that this the series is kind of taking. It's not massive, it really isn't, but it's just opening a lot of interesting storylines which can go kind of through. Now, I said this. I haven't spoken about this in like 60 chapters. Last time I spoke about this was when Kirishima was actually fighting in the summer camp arc, when Kirishima was fighting that gas guy, and the gas guy had a gun. And I was thinking, hang on. And I said something along the lines of, this is ages ago, I'm surprised I remember it, but I said something along the lines of, this villain, if we get villains coming in with guns and coming in with like actual weapons like this, it grounds the series so much more, and it brings a bit of realism to it as well. It makes it more like scary, because when the gas guy, he first shot the gun, I think it hit Tetsuzetsu, not Kirishima, but when the gas guy shot the gun, and we all saw like the way that Horikoshi portrayed it, it made us more frightened for our characters, because at that point in time in the series, we were like, hang on, these guys can actually die. Because before all the other fights with the villains, it weren't like, they didn't come up with, they weren't threatening to kill you, kind of. It weren't that scary, other than maybe like Shigaraki. But aside from that, and like, it wasn't so vivid, because they didn't use things like guns, they didn't use things like pistols and all that kind of stuff. So we therefore didn't feel as much afraid. But the fact is that we're kind of coming back to it in this arc, and I think it's awesome. It's opening storylines. For example, the drugs. Let me ask you guys a question about this. This drug amplifies your quirk. What happens if these drugs get into the school? Like, if we get like a whole drug infiltration. Now, I'm not talking about some kind of 21 Jump Street kind of thing, but I'm just saying, what if the students get a hold of these drugs? Imagine someone from Class 1A gets a hold of this drug, amplifies his quirk. What are the negative drawbacks of these drugs? There must be some drawbacks. And it'll be pretty interesting to see if like a student takes these drugs because they feel like their quirk is not good enough, that they want to get stronger. And I'd be so intrigued to see the effects of that. And a storyline like that would be pretty awesome as well. Another thing is, what did I write? Another thing is that these drugs, the pistol, you know, taking away the quirk, amplifying the quirk, it's all for one centric. Think about it. The whole thing about, you know, amplifying quirks, we saw All For One being able to do that. The whole thing about stealing quirks, we saw All For One also being able to do it. I think it was said in a previous chapter where, what's it called? Overhaul did say something along the lines as of, I'm just brushing off of All For One's approach. He said something along the lines of that, and it's kind of true. So obviously, he really is. He's basically taken the successful parts of All For One, making it his own. Because he wants to be the Overhaul wants to be the kingpin of crime. Like, let's not forget that. So I just found it kind of interesting how all of his machinations, all of his drugs, all of his innovation is all for one centric, and I kind of like that, how it's mirroring back just how all the heroes, they want to be the best, put on a smile. All of that mirrors back to All Might, how All Might was, and now the villains are kind of mirroring back to how All For One is as well. So that was pretty cool. Now I'm just gonna end the video off on here, but this was really awesome, especially the Thug. Now that he was complaining about his quirk, because he was complaining, saying how, oh, my quirk is not useful, it's not strong enough, and this has been a theme that Horikoshi has been developing recently with Togata, all his weaknesses with, you know, the whole Class 1A strengthening their quirks, and Deku's developments. It's not about how strong your quirk is, how base strong it is. It's what you can do with it. We saw characters like Mirio with vast amount of weaknesses, yeah. Muriel's the closest to being number one. It's what you make with what you've got. It's not you need to be versatile with your things, and obviously this Thug didn't get it. And Kirishima has realized it now as well. He's not mimicking everyone. He's staying in his lane and he's improving on his strengths, and I think that's pretty awesome. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'm gonna ask you this question again. Do you guys think this drug is permanent? What do you think this, or about, you know, taking the quirks away, or with the whole drug amplification that the guy took, do you think it's got negative drawbacks as well? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next week for that greatness. That is Boku no Hero Academia 134. Shinigami-san, peace out guys, and goodbye.